Okay, the final VLAB application that I wanted to go over is probably the most cumbersome to use. That's why I saved it for last. Dr. Chrono and Vista are very user-friendly, intuitive, and were very easy to use, at least for myself. ARGO, I kind of struggled with, so I wanted to go over a few highlights I found and a few issues in the hopes that it'll save you and your students time. So ARGO is at the very bottom of the HEMA VLAB. There are more than just these two files that you need to open, which is one thing I want to point out. There's the ARGO FAQs and the VLAB credentials, but inside of other documents, there's links to other files, and you need those as well. So that's one thing I do want to highlight. First, let's go over the ARGO FAQ. And again, I have this file saved. I did email all these to Shannon, so all these files you guys will have as well, but they're also here in the virtual lab. So I didn't create any of these files. I got them right from the virtual lab. So if we bring up the FAQs, this I would make sure the students go through because this is a very cumbersome product, like I said, and it's important that every step is followed exactly as it states. So the first thing is that ARGO requires only using Internet Explorer. Only. I tried it with Edge. It won't open. It doesn't work in Edge. So make sure it's Internet Explorer, and it has to be version 9 or 11 is actually preferred. I don't really know which version I personally have, but hopefully the students have 9 or 11. The second thing is there has to be a Citrix receiver installed, which took me a while to get installed, but I was able to install it. So that's something I would recommend if you can go through with your students in class. Hopefully they have access to computers or laptops to get this installed so that they don't have to worry about trying to troubleshoot this if that's possible. So this is just all about the Citrix receiver. If you want to clean it up, if you have like an older one. The other thing I wanted to point out is that ARGO is a live system, meaning that once a patient is registered, everybody is going to see that in all the queues for anybody using ARGO. So it's dynamic data, something you'll want, I'm sure, to explain to the students what dynamic data means and how important it is. Now, the VLAB likes having that live data so that students can really see what a real-world application would be like. But with that in mind, there might be certain things you cannot do in ARGO because that chart might be gone by the time, if Sally A fixes, say, a duplicate medical record on Sally Joe, and then you can't have student B go do Sally Joe also because that record will be gone. It'll be out of the queue. So it is a live system and the data is live. It's not going to be there for everybody to play with unless it's generic things like what's the first record you see? What's the first medical number? Something like that that would just come up in the queue instead of by name, if that makes sense. So again, I would make sure that the students read through the Citrix. We don't use MedTech in this class specifically, but MedTech is in the VLAB, and when that's used in another class, the same Citrix that we use for ARGO, we will also have to use for MedTech. So it's not like if they can't get it for this class, that'll be okay, because it won't. They're going to have to use it in future VLAB applications and future courses as well. So once they get the Citrix down, we go to the account access and setup, which you would go to the apps.ahima.vlab, and I'll take you through that, and then we log on. And if you don't have Citrix right here, that's okay, because it'll prompt you to. So I would have students start by coming here to the apps.ahimavlab.com, and then this is just your regular VLab login just to get to the VLab. Whatever it was to get to the just academy.ahima.org login, that's what you put here. Which for us, for the students, it should just be that BSC 001. It's just that generic college login. And here is the login credential sheet that you could give to them. Again, this I got from the virtual lab, but it's generic for every college and university. So you could put BSC 001 for the X's and the Y's here. The password's the same for every college and university. So AHIMA number 17 is going to be the correct password. So let me go. I'm going to copy this address and copy it into Explorer, right? We don't want to copy it into Edge or Chrome or anything else because ARGO is very picky. So this is the logon screen. So I'm going to type that generic college logon. Okay, so this is the Citrix receiver. And again, I've already done this. So my Meditech ARGO demo and ARGO entity are already loaded. So if I come back to those files, this just tells me how to get to the Citrix receiver. And again, I'm in that account access file. This tells me how to run the receiver, how to install it. So again, share with your students. This is how you add the apps, and then we would add the ARGO ones for this process, for this application that we're going to do in HCAS 129. So that's the end of part 1, but don't close out of the instructions because we're not done. So then now it's telling us how we get to the actual ARGO applications. So there are 2 different applications. There's the ARGO demo registration and the ARGO entity match and resolution. So it tells us to come back, step 1, return your attention to the Citrix receiver window, which is that apps AHIMA VLab. And now it's telling us to click or tap the ARGO demo registration icon. Follow steps 3 and 4 in order and carefully, and they really mean it because it's, like I said, it's very more tricky system to use, I guess, than just Vista or Dr. Chrono. So make sure that the steps are being followed like it says. So when you first access the ARGO demo registration, Internet Explorer will likely present you with a security window, and you want to allow that. Then it will ask you if it can see your location or whatever, and you want to hit Permit Use. So here's what that permit use would look like. And then we're going to log on. So this is yet another password and username that we're going to need. So I wanted to point that out because the first time I went through this, I could not find the password for logging on to this City Medical Center. So I want to make sure that you guys see it. It's right here in step 4. I was trying the BSC 001, AHEMA number 17, and that's not correct. We want to enter ANON and then OK. So let me go back to my ARGO demo and hope that it opens up. It is a slow process, so you must be patient when using ARGO. I learned that. Okay, so it brings up that login screen. So again, we do that ANON. Sorry, it's thinking it's not letting me type right now. But we would type ANON right here, and then the password was OK. And then I'm going to hit OK. And so it brings us into the actual ARGO demo registration system. So let me toggle back to that file. And the instructions again tells us what we will see. And that's for the ARGO demo. Again, don't close out this file because the next one tells us what to do for this second ARGO application, the entity match and resolution. Again, it's the same Vlab, the same Citrix. We want to do the permit use of AST. We want to authorize it, sign on. And it tells us there's no need to change the company or facility. We just hit sign on. And I'll show you that as well. And then we're taken to a page that says my queues because they're work queues. Again, this is a live system. And then the bottom of this, if we have any problems, it has some troubleshooting that you might want to try with the students or might want them to try. Do not exit out of any ARGO applications or your Citrix receiver window. Completely log out instructions will be presented once you submit your assessment questions. So the assessment questions are what we see in the virtual lab that we answer as we go through, which are these. So there's only 4. There's this Enterprise Master Patient Index, which this has this ARGO MPI operations screenshot file that you have to download, which I have right here. Again, I provided this to Shannon, but you're going to want to click on that to go through these questions. And then it tells us to download a complete set of the activity directions, which we do right here, before we go through these questions. So these questions have nothing to do with using ARGO or using the ARGO, either one of the ARGO systems. But this just goes over kind of the foundation of the system. What's a duplicate medical record? What's an overlay? It gives them this article to read. And then here's some print screens again. So again, the student should want to keep this open as they're looking through the first question. And that's called the ARGO Enterprise Master Patient Index Operations. So if I go back to my demo, you can see there's pre-registration, quick registration, register, detailed search, numeric search, modify charts, beds, info request, coding, document scanning, and compliance. Then the tabs at the top, doctors, insurance, beds. So you can definitely play around and look at the data. The activities in the virtual lab, if I go back to the virtual lab. So the first one was over that document that you click into. The second activity is over account access and setup. So these questions are just if they could get in. I can show you there's only 2 questions on this one. Could you get in the Citrix receiver downloaded, and then were you able to access ARGO demonstration and entity? And at first I picked no because I wasn't. Originally I could only get in one of them, and I had to get some help, and it was because of the Internet Explorer issue. So make sure that they are using Internet Explorer. But I still got 100% even though I answered it no. And then the third activity in the virtual lab is registering a patient, and that is done in the ARGO demonstration, and the functions one is done in the ARGO entity match and resolution. So inside the virtual lab, they're using the ARGO demonstration for process 3, registering a patient, and 4 is the entity match and resolution. Okay, so again, they'll want to keep multiple windows open, but registering a patient, it just goes over in the overview, what they have to do, if there's a duplicate entry, how the registration begins, again, our AHIMA domains, how to log in, and then you can get the activity directions by clicking here. So again, I encourage everyone to always click into those documents. They're hidden sometimes in each activity, sometimes they're hidden at the top. So registering a patient, it tells us step by step what we need to do. So we log on, then we go to ARGO, which again, that anon, and then OK. Then it tells us we click on the quick register, and ARGO gives us 3 ways to search for patient records. We can do a demographic data search, identifier search, so you can search the patient by a unique identifier, or a biometric search, like if there was a palm scanner in place. So for our class, obviously, we'll do demographic because we don't have palm scanners and we don't know their identifiers. So it tells them to click on the quick registration and then how to go through, each of the fields. So let me just demonstrate. So if I was to go to click quick registration, then we can search. So let's just search by last name Smith. That's a common last name. And M. Let's do Mary. So anybody that matches that is going to come up, or anybody close. Marissa, Maureen, Molly, Mariah. So you can see fun activities for students just to even just play around with. What's another common last name? Lee. How about Bruce? And this one's flipped where it even brought it up even if the first name was close, right? Not the last name. And then going back to the document, it has them in steps, go through and enter certain data and then answer the questions. So I won't waste your time going through all of these steps because it is, you know, pretty much step for step, but they do want to either have these instructions printed out or have two windows open so that they can go through them at the same time that they're going through the ARGO system. Okay, so I'm going to close out of that system. And I'm going to go into ARGO Entity Match and Resolution, which is what we use for Activity 4 in the virtual lab. And again, I apologize that these open so slow. I don't know if it's my computer or if they're going to open that slow for you guys as well. And this one is not opening for me. This is what I sadly mean about the virtual lab. I was just in the demo and now it's not opening, and entity one's not opening either. So I'm in Internet Explorer, so that's not the problem. I'm going to try to log off and then maybe log back in, see if that helps. So to go there, you just do that apps.ahema Vlab. So I'm back to that first logon screen. So again, it's BSC001, and then AHEMA, all capital, number 17. Okay, so far so good. Now I'm going to try to do the ARGO Clinic, the match and resolution. Fingers crossed. It's opening. Yay! So I hate to say that it's kind of fickle, but that's just been my experience. Hopefully you guys won't have any hiccups at all and we'll be able to click and open. Okay, so this one, if you remember the instructions, I know I've gone through a lot of instructions, but we don't change anything here. We just sign on. And then we're at the queue page. And so the queues are listed out by overlay, by patient merge, patient leak, practitioner. And again, if you go back to the virtual lab, it tells the students what they need to do in this system. So if I go back to the virtual lab, we would want to go to function 4, or functions of entity match and resolution, which is activity 4, I should have said. And again, it gives an overview of what they're going to do, the AHEMA domain that they're meeting. And again, very important to download the instructions by clicking on the tapping here, the blue here. So we would click on that. So functions of entity match and resolution, it tells them again how to log on, how to just hit the sign on, not to do anything. Then my queue will appear. It gives a nice screenshot of that. So now it tells them to go to the home page, click my queues, entity search. It tells them what audit does, source search dashboard. It tells them what all the symbols mean. So again, it might be best if they print this document off or have two windows open as they go through it, because there's quite a lot of information that is covered. Good information, but again, they might want to print this off. So again, it's telling us right here it's a live system. So if another student is presently accessing the same task, you may need to select another one. So two students cannot be doing the exact same patient at the same time. And that's what might be problematic if you were trying to assign something, you know, really generic that everyone could do, like Mary Smith with date of birth 10/10/10. That's probably not gonna work. So the activities in AHEMA on number 4, if the students just follow this exactly as it's listed out here, they should be able to complete the activity and learn, you know, how to use the queue and how to determine if they need to merge records, if it's duplicate, if it's the same patient. So this document's quite a bit bigger than the last one. I don't even know how many pages. Let's see. 20 pages. And will take quite a bit longer than the first one. But again, if they just slow down and follow it step by step, they'll be successful in this activity. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful as well, and good luck using these. I hope that they open perfectly for you guys the first time. Just remember that you want to make sure you're in Internet Explorer for the ARGO applications.